I regret I cannot be with you in person for obvious reasons. I am missing your good company, your excellent food, the great scenery of Turkey, and your renowned hospitality. In the years before COVID arrived and tore up all our certainties, made a mockery of our forecasts, and impoverished millions, indeed billions of people, financially and emotionally, even then in those days, when events had a pattern, and we thought we could plan for the future, even then, predicting future publishing trends was a fool's game. How many predictions we made about how our industry would progress, how many of them were wholly inaccurate? TV, the internet, social media, online learning would conspire to kill reading and books. And our skills would be as relevant today as those of the blacksmith in the age of the automobile. How wrong we were, as books have continued to thrive and grow, give pleasure and educate. That said, I have been asked to paint a vision of how our industry might change, evolve and thrive once we are over the worst of this 21st century plague. So here goes. Firstly, I thank God every day that I don't work in industries such as aviation, hospitality, sporting events, cinema, conference organizing, where between 50 and 95% of revenue has disappeared over the last 9 months. Our product, the book, the journal, the database, is not dependent on large gatherings of people, nor on mass transit of people across countries and continents. It is not even completely dependent on a physical retail environment. And our employees can work together over the internet with little need for face-to-face meetings. Of course, it would be better if we could return to the pre-COVID situation. But it is amazing how unaffected publishing, at least in the West, has been, with major trade publishers and academic publishers reporting excellent sales and profit margins. I can't help feeling, however, that this almost too comfortable situation will not last, as unemployment inexorably rises, universities and school budgets are constrained, independent booksellers struggle to compete with the online e-commerce giants, and as governments gradually reduce their support for business and revert to increased taxation to pay down some of the vast debts incurred. Our industry will have to rethink itself in many directions and many dimensions. And I will list just a few. Speed. Everything takes too long. We need to shorten the time between an author's manuscript and the availability of the book from typically 1 year to maybe 3 months, maybe less. In academic publishing, it needs to be even faster. Journal publishing articles, less than 24 hours. Monographs published in a month, why not? Secondly, efficiency. Our supply chain is too long. A trade book in the West is handled more than 20 times before it reaches the potential reader. Is it any wonder that books appear to be expensive if one has to handle it 20 times? Wastage. The number of books filling warehouses that will never be sold is horrendous. I have been in the business for 48 years, and I have never been in a warehouse where there are not books with layers of dust on the top, which have been there forever and will continue to be there forever. The printers may not thank me for this, but maybe we should consider halving all our print runs and refusing returns from booksellers. Or maybe simply move to print on demand in the location of the purchaser, whether that's a city or a library or a bookshop. Anything we can do to save that wastage will be valuable. And then there's overheads. Do we really need to travel to sell? As I record this, the Frankfurt Book Fair is not taking place. I miss it enormously, and so do many people, but we're still managing to make deals. COVID has forced us to adapt our sales techniques, and it's not working too badly. And then think of the savings in person, power, and cost. And do we really need as much office space as we have? Working from home is working really well for many people. Not all, it's true, but for a large proportion, it is working well. Is there still a role for an office? Well, I'm sure there is. But do we need as much space? We used to work in London anyway, on the basis of 10 square meters of office per employee. Why not 5 and halve the cost of rent? The environment. We all need to consider the damage we are inflicting on the earth. That means we have to reduce waste in packaging, in energy usage. Could we use fewer pages in books with more judicious editing and better designed pages? We must save trees. We must save energy in all forms. Flying books around the world. British publishers spend large amounts of money flying books to Australia. Many of those books are never even sold. And sometimes they're even flown back. What an utter waste of hydrocarbon. And then people. We are a people business. We keep saying that, and it's true. But do we need the number of layers of management we currently have? We need fewer layers, and we need more empowered and self-starting publishers. Centralized control and command systems simply won't work. We need to have educated, challenging, ambitious people, or we shall lose the best people to competing and adjacent industries. And then there's competition. Who do we see as competitors? We must stop looking at other publishers as our principal competitors. In times of disruption, there are new opportunities, and these opportunities typically are developed by newcomers with no historical baggage, no legacy. Think of the startups of Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. They all started as what we call newbies, new boys, new kids on the block. Maybe we should view ourselves as new kids on the block and behave as such, reinvent ourselves. And then there is digital. I have left this until last, not because it is the most important or the least important aspect of the future, but because it needs to be all pervasive in commissioning, in editing, in promoting, in manufacture, in logistics, in management, in communication, in accounting, and in planning. No longer can we treat digital as a mysterious thing only understood by millennials or help desk employees. It is core to our business and should be the focus of every investment, every strategy, and every risk we take. If I come to Istanbul in a few years' time, as I hope I will, I shall probably be heckled for having got so much wrong. But at least I shall be heckled in the real, not the virtual world of Zoom. Thank you for listening and have a great conference.